Alrighty, so we have finished the base album, and you'll see the little bits sticking out all over the place. And now we're going to decorate the album. So I'm going to go through and add all the bits and pieces to it. I might add as I go. I might be adding some of the mats, I might not add all the mats, I might come back and add mats, but you get the general idea. So the first thing that I've prepped is the spine, and this spine is from, I have no idea now because I thought I'd written it down, but it's the other piece of this. You'll see they match. And all I've done, I didn't want the image of the body or the head, so all I've done is I've added one of the fussy cut cogs, I've added a flower, and I chose, so this one is quite blue, this one is quite orange, and then I've chosen the brassy sort of color here, and then I've added a few little bits on here. So all we're going to do, I did trim it down to fit, so all we're going to do is add it on the spine. I think I do have it written down somewhere. It's 2.5 inches, and then I've just sanded the edges. It just makes this part not so boring. You can come back and look at what I've done, or you can just cut according to the notes. So if you bought the notes, you'll have the measurements and sizes and stuff. So I'm going to add that to there like so. So it all kind of lines up, and it's not over the fold, so it won't tear. Then my front cover, super organized here, I'll show you. I've got everything prepped as well. I had it all in a little Miko. And what I have done here is I have put in some white mats for photos, like so. Okay, so this is kind of going in the middle, and remember, it's for you to change up as well. I'm going to pop one there, and one there. Okay, so I'm actually going to stick these with some double-sided tape. If I'm not sure of something, if I'm not 100% sure of something, I always will tape it rather than stick it with glue. Tape you can undo, glue, once it's stuck, it's stuck. And then I don't know if any of you have been followed me on any of my other mini albums. This pair of red scissors is my glue scissors, and I killed them. I don't know how I did it, but I killed them. So they broke there, and they broke over there. Anyway, I've stuck them with super glue, and it seems to be holding. Touch wood. So I've got my little my little small fussy cutting glue scissors back. So I'm very happy about that. Right, so just getting these prepped, ready to go on. And then the big one, I actually want to put some foam tape and raise it. So let's get the foam tape. Oops, I think I'm going to be attacked by some tape that's going to fly out the cupboard. Now this is not massive foam tape, it's only a mil. Yeah, it's a millimeter thick. If I wanted to, I could double up or treble up, but I'm happy with just a slight raise, especially since it's on the front cover. You don't want stuff that's too high. Okay, let's make sure the little cameras are up the right way. So it's going to work something like that, and like that. So let's just position it so we're happy with the positioning. Quite like that. So it was approximately there. So So let's just measure so we can see, because some of you are going to want to know how far down. So let's go approximately an inch down and about half an inch in. And we're going to go approximately half an inch in. Oopsie, that wasn't smart. Oh. Approximately an inch up and half an inch in. I want to be able to see that little bit of the jean, and then I'm just going to position this so that it kind of is halfway between in the middle. Obviously, if you don't want 3 photos on the front, you don't have to do 3 photos. You're going to change it up to work with what you've got. Okay. So I quite like this live in the moment, is what I had planned. And then I also had planned, let's do the red down here. And I also have planned some flowers. Sorry, just got an itch. I'm just looking for my ball embossing tool. So all I'm going to do is, this is supposedly a blackboard duster, but it's quite soft. You want something that's a little bit softer. You don't want anything too hard to press on. And I'm just going to start with the center, because basically what you're doing here is stretching the paper. I think maybe this is a little bit, it's got little grooves in it, which is not great. So we're going to do that. I wonder, I do have a proper little piece of something that I normally use. Just haven't used it for so long and I have no idea where it is. I'll have to look for it. Oh, this is not working. This is definitely not working. So don't try with something like that. I'm just going to pause the video so I can see if I can find something that will work. Yay, I found my piercing mat. My paper piercing. It's a paper piercing mat, or a piercing mat, and it should work. That's it. So basically you're stretching the paper. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've literally rubbed on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the leaves in the center, then into the leaves. Okay, so that's obviously the perfect tool to use. I've also got a couple of these other bits, so I think when I was prepping it, I should have taken a picture. I don't think I took a picture of it, which is a bit silly. If we're going to put a cog there, we don't want the red one, we want a blue flower. also had these, which I thought could look quite nice just to the side. We have the Live in the Moment, and possibly a little arrow that might work in here nicely. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that setup. I can't remember what I had here. I think I may have had these just tucked right, let's get sticking. So let's move that to the side. Let's stick this down. This one, I'm just cutting a bit out to get it further in. And then I will come back once I've chalked these. Just make sure it fits in. Once I've chalked this, I'll come back and add it. I'm not too sure what color, but I'm thinking it's got to stand up off this black. So we'll leave this and come back to it for now. So that is my front cover more or less done. I think what I am going to do is add some stickles, just to add a little shine and shimmer to it. So that's front cover and spine done. Opening up to the inside, goodness, I stuck this down earlier and it clearly didn't want to stick, so I did just a tentative job so I could see. Okay, so the inner cover, I have prepped, this is PP 00605, so this is an extra sheet that I took out or took off my shelf. If you don't want to use this, you could just use a black cardstock. So it's the corrugated one. If you have got corrugated card, you might want to use that. I see it does like weird things to the camera. So the idea was to pop this here. like so. And I've placed this pretty far in because I'm going to come back later and start popping some elements in. And again, tape quite far in so that I can come and tuck elements. And I've allowed about a 1/16 of an inch, I think, all the way around for your mat, so it's a very small one. Okay, so there's your space for your first page. Let's see what I've got inside cover. Right. We're now going to open to the inside cover, because remember we've got all of the space. And what I did was I fussy cut these. I popped a circle at the back. I cut a little circle out of just white, and I thought of doing something like this. Now this is the one that kept moving, because what I have got planned for here is a bit to tuck in there. So that's kind of, you won't see those, but you'll see these, if that makes sense. And then I have used the rust, and with the rust I've used the black. Okay, so I've also, I should have probably stuck these earlier, because you don't really want to watch me sticking photo mats. If I remember correctly, these are 3x4 photo mats. And then I've double matted in, well, your photo will go on here, you would trim it down to fit in. And I've used the red and the rust. Which I think looks quite nice. Now these I've cut each one individually, but normally what I would do is cut everything together so that everything is cut on the guillotine and it's all measured. And they're all exactly the same, so these, they are cut separately. I kind of like the idea of keeping that, because you could also put in little photos into there. You could also do big photos. I just thought this lent itself to like 2 up photos, so half a jumbo. Definitely cut that one a bit crooked. And my idea, if you like crooked, you could do a little something. I'm not a crooked girl. Ooh, it does my head in. So just going to stick these flat and straight. So it looks like it hasn't taken too long to do this, but remember I've prepped, everything's been cut and prepped prior to sticking in. And the thought process that goes in behind doing this also takes a good couple of hours. It's not a quick thing. So when you are sticking these, and you need to be careful because your fold is there, you don't want to be sticking over the fold. So there's my fold. I'm going to stick this one close to the fold but not too close. I learnt my lesson with the Ubuntu album that I stuck too close and it was so thick that it actually tore. So that's ready to fold it. Right, I had prepped these. I forgot to put the little camera stamp on there and I can't get it in now. But what I do want to do is just add some glue. Did put some texture paste. I used a Celebr8 stencil and I covered it, colored it with, I think it was rust, the texture paste. I just used cheap dollar paste. And I put these to the side so that you can see little photos in there. And then with those, I didn't do anything on the back of this red, but I did include a piece of orange. So we are eyeballing it. So same distance top and bottom and same distance on the side. And then we're going to come in with the mats in black and space for a little title. These look a bit out of place because they're so white, but once you've put a little photo in there, and you can cut the photo with probably a 1 3/4 inch punch that fits in. Okay, so I haven't done any photo mats on anything else just yet, but that will then come in and it will fit in there. You could also have space here that you could put extra photo, like a bigger photo, and decorate. This layer is calling to have some extra decorations Okay, so page, the inner cover. This is page 1 now that we're going to be working on, and I have used we've got black on red. Do we have black on red? Why do I have red on black here? Okay, red on black, and if I remember correctly, that is going to fit there like so. So again, I have cut, this is also the extra sheet. I'm going to just put a thin piece of tape. So I've just put the thin piece of tape to the side, kind of line it up. Then if I remember correctly, let's just stick these down. And these, so this ties up, these two pages tie together. So I've only done the red mats. Okay. So let's line it up from the side. Okay, so we've got another 2 photo mats there. So that's what it looks like. Here's your double page layout. Remember, you're going to open inside, and you've got another page on this side. So opening up. I bought that rust colour now. And I'm not 100% sure if I don't want to offset just for something different. I'm going to double-sided tape these because I want to do like an offset mat with this page. Just for something a little bit different. And again, I'm not sticking the tape close to the edge because I want to be able to tuck embellishments. Same with this. We also, when we open it, we have these bits here. I might come in with some orange and just put something on there. Okay. So let's come in with the orange. Going to offset it a little bit. I want to be able to see that little bit of cog sticking out. Oh, stuck the tape on the wrong side of this one. What a clown. Let's see if I can get it off without making too much nonsense. I haven't really pressed it down, so here's a luck. Let's see if I can get this one off. I was lucky because I hadn't pressed it down. It was not stuck 100%. I want to just try and get this one so that there's a bit more of the rust sticking out. Folders over here. Okay, so I've got a fair bit of rust sticking out, and we'll come back and we'll be tucking bits and pieces. There's the fold there, so I had to be careful where the fold was with the photo. I'm just going to pause the video. Okay, so we've got that page, we've got that page. Let's turn over onto pages 2 and 3. So what I've done here, I've prepped some of it. And I've also now brought in the peacock. We've got the peacock in the paper here. We've got the red, the peacock, and we've got the rust. So I've tried to bring in all of those colors. And I've also taken one of the frames, cut it in half, and then I have added some acetate. So I'm just going to pick up a bit of 5mm, 6mm tape, 1/4 inch tape, and I am going to tape the underneath. So I stuck the acetate on just with glue. Okay, so I'm just taping now underneath the frame so you don't see it. And I'm going to take one of these and pop it on the side. You can always slide something in there if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. So it then just becomes a decorative element. And this one I thought I would put further up. I then have prepped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a blue frame, a blue mat as well for each one. So here we are bringing in the rust, the red, and the peacock. Not too sure why my mat is so big on one side. Just going to trim that down. So this, I prefer to cut my mats, stick down, like would stick these down and then cut my mats. I don't like cutting beforehand because this is what happens with me. I would rather get it like straight on the frame. Does that make sense? Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, a little winter sniffle. Okay, so that one fits quite nicely, and then if I have a look here, that fits nicely. So I'm just going to glue. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so I've got my 4. Can do some 2 lower, 2 higher, or 2 higher, no, like that. And I think I am going to tape down in case I change my mind as to the arrangement. Again, always taping inwards. And it's just quite fun bringing in the extra, the different color, because otherwise this album could be quite like really grungy with just the red, without the red in this peacock. Oh, my dogs are misbehaving. I know why, because it's almost dinner time. It probably is dinner time. So they find anything to bark at. It's like, we want dinner, we want dinner. So I am going to do one up and one down. And then I'm going to stop this video because this video is already, will be around 45 minutes, which is more than long enough. So it allows for a title, words, whatever in there. I'm going to bring this one down a little bit. Just so you see that bit at the top. And then I'm going to bring this one up. And there are the mats for page 2 and 3. So remember, we got that little bit and we got 2, I think these were 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 pages. And then next we are on to pages 4 and 5, and that's pretty much as far as I've got anyway. So let's stop there. We'll try and do page 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 together. Do them in little batches.